Okay guys, so these are the top 3 Asian chicken recipes on my website, YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, so let's check it out. Number 3, Chinese honey chicken. The whole secret behind this no batter honey chicken lies in the marinade. So I've got some chicken breast here and I'm going to add some soy sauce and also some Chinese Shaoxing wine, and I really love the aroma and the flavor that this adds to this dish. It kind of elevates it above that Chinese takeout kind of style, but if you would like to, you could just use some extra chicken stock. The whole point of this marinade is that we want a lot of liquid, because the liquid binding with the flour a little bit later on is what's going to give us the crunchy coating on the chicken rather than that heavy batter. And then also just an egg white. Now just give this a really good mix through. That egg white just needs to be broken up a little bit. Now this doesn't need long to marinate, just a few minutes while we get our stir fry sauce made. Okay, to start off with, some chicken stock and some honey, some white vinegar and some soy sauce. Just give that a mix through. Just try and dissolve that honey a little bit. And then even though we've got some honey in there, I'm going to add some sugar as well, because it's not just for sweetness, but the sugar is going to help us create like a sticky caramel for our sauce. So now what we need to do is get our chicken ready for frying. Now all of the chicken and all of that marinade, and yes, that's a lot of liquid, all of that goes into the flour. Now here's the part where we create all the crispy, craggly bits that are going to be on the outside of our chicken. So we want to mix the chicken and the marinade through that flour and use your fingers to really get that flour stuck to the outside of the chicken. So what I want to see are all these little bits of sticky flour and marinade stuck to the outside of that chicken. And now what you can see on the outside of that chicken are all those little crevices and cracks of flour and marinade, and that is where the magic will happen. Now these pieces just need to be fried in hot oil until lightly golden and crispy. Wow, now that chicken is looking delightful. Okay, we've got a lovely golden brown color. I'm gonna take those out, just drain them on some kitchen paper. And now take a look at that crispy, craggly goodness. It'd be criminal not to try it. Okay, now before I eat that whole tray of chicken, let's get our sauce going. So I just want a clean pan and a little bit of oil and just some garlic. And as soon as you can start to smell that beautiful fried garlic flavor, I want you to add in that stir fry sauce that we made. Just make sure you get all of that sugar and honey out of the bottom of the bowl. And now I just want to let this simmer for a couple of minutes. I want to start to see that sugar really bubbling up and that sauce getting nice and thick. Okay, here we go. This is what I call a fluffy sugar bubble. That's how I know that we're starting to get some action here. Time to add in just a little bit of corn flour mixed with some water. And now this is where the magic is. Look at that beautiful, glossy, thick sauce. Okay, now time for the chicken. Look at that shine. So beautiful. Yum, and you can see that beautiful light coating on that chicken is now soaking up all that delicious honey sticky sauce. Just a final drizzle of sauce. And then I like a little sprinkling of sesame seeds. You could use black or white, but I'm using black today. And there it is, guys, the ultimate honey chicken. No heavy, sticky, stodgy batters, just beautiful crispness plus some sweet and glossy goodness. Let's see. You guys have got to try this. Number 2, my family's recipe for Beggars Chicken. It's very tender.
Beautiful.
That's
Tender.
nice. Thanks, Mum.
Oh, the spice, nice.
Is it as good as yours?
A little better than mine.
No, you're just saying that because everyone's watching.
No, a little better. Yes, good.
That's nice. Thanks, Mum. So I'm not sure why this is called Beggars Chicken. My mum calls it Beggars Chicken, but there are lots of other recipes that look nothing like this one that are called Beggars Chicken. Anyway, whatever it's called, we call it the most amazing chicken in the world in my house. It's a firm favorite and it's super easy to make. So the first thing we need to do is make a really lovely garlicky coriander and pepper paste. So I'm going to start off with some garlic cloves. I just want to bruise those so I can get the skins off. And to that I want to add some coriander root. So you will have noticed that in a lot of my mum and my Thai recipes, we start out a lot of the time with this coriander, garlic and pepper paste. It's a very traditional, old school Thai paste, and it's the basis for a lot of recipes. So you just want the root part, that's got all the flavor that we want. Save those leaves for later. And then a little bit of salt. The salt helps to break down the fibers when we're using the mortar and pestle. And then a little bit of white pepper as well. I've also done this with black peppercorns, so you could totally substitute that. And then just pound this to a rough paste. Okay, so this is the kind of texture that you're looking for. And then into a stock pot or something that's large enough to hold the whole chicken, I'm going to add a little bit of oil. And the whole point of this is that we're going to layer some really beautiful flavors, starting off with the paste. I love that smell. It's such a comforting smell. It reminds me so much of my mum's kitchen. And then add your chicken in. Now just give this guy a couple of swirls in here. Just make sure that garlic paste isn't burning at the bottom. Just want to start to kind of get some of those chickeny flavors going in here. And now I'm going to start adding all the aromatics. So I've got some star anise and a cinnamon stick. And some soy sauce. So first of all, I need some light soy sauce, and that's just a regular Chinese soy sauce. It's called light, but that's mainly just to differentiate it from the dark soy sauce. So that's going to go in. And then now here I have some sweet dark soy sauce. This is a little thicker than regular dark soy sauce. It has a bit more of a molasses kind of flavor. If you're in Australia or you're near an Asian grocer, you can also use what's called ketchup manis, which is the Indonesian version. Anyway, what you're looking for is a sweet dark soy sauce. So that's what you want. This is going to give us a beautiful color and a little bit of sweetness. And now I add in some water. You want enough so that about 3/4 of the chicken is covered. Now just make sure those spices are in the broth. Just mix that around, release some of that paste from the bottom so it doesn't burn. And then the lid goes on, and you want to gently simmer this for about 90 minutes. Halfway through, I like to kind of give the chicken a flip over just so I get a nice even color and everything. But what you're looking for is for that chicken to really start to almost fall off the bone. It should be that tender. So this chicken recipe has quite the reputation in my family. My dad reckons that when my mum first made it for him, that's when he knew that he was going to ask her to marry him. So there you go, the marriage proposal chicken. And here are some photos of my mum and dad before they got married. That's my dad, he's Australian, and there's my mum being all fancy, and how fun. She looks so styling. Wow, so this chicken is really smelling so amazing. It's one of the things that I love about this dish. It's like when it's cooking, it just fills your whole house with happiness. I love it. Okay, let's have a look at how we're going. Oh, look at that beautiful color. Okay, so time to get this guy out onto a serving dish. Now be gentle here because that chicken will be a little delicate. And then one last thing to do is check the broth for seasoning. Complex flavor is so delicious. Just a little background note of the star anise and the cinnamon, and then the beautiful saltiness from the soy sauce. So good. It does need a little bit of salt, which you might be surprised about because of the amount of dark soy sauce we added, but dark soy sauce is actually less salty than regular soy sauce. It's just got a little bit more sweetness. So I do need to add a little bit of salt here. And then at my house, we serve this family style. So we serve the chicken out on the table. Some of this broth goes over the top. And then I like to have some rice or some noodles nearby to really soak up all that yummy sauce. And just a little bit of coriander on the top as well. So there you go, guys, my mum's family recipe for Beggars Chicken, a favorite at my house. I hope your family loves it too. Can't wait to dig in here. Yum, so good. Number one, you guys could not get enough of this one. It's spicy fried chicken bao bun. So first up, we're gonna deal with the all-important fried chicken. So I have a really special technique for getting the crispiest, crunchiest, craggly coating on the outside of your chicken. That's a lot of C's. Anyway, first of all, we're gonna start with some spicy sauce because I like things spicy. You guys know that by now. And I'm gonna use my Marion's Kitchen coconut sriracha. You can use whatever kind of hot sauce you like. I love this one, obviously. So I'll get that into a bowl. If you want to find out where you can buy this sauce, head to my website, marionskitchen.com. It'll tell you all about it. And then I'm going to add some vodka. So vodka is going to do two things. One, it's got volatile molecules. So when it hits the hot oil, it's going to sort of make things puff up and bubble and crisp up, which is really good. But also alcohol is a really good flavor carrier. So it's going to help with the flavor being carried all through our chicken as a marinade. So I'm going to pour that in. And if you want to keep this kid-friendly and you don't want to use any alcohol, just add a little bit of chicken stock or some water. And I want to liven things up even more. So I'm going to add some sweet paprika. This is going to give us a really great color as well. And then just because I'm always totally extra with the chili, I'm going to add some chili powder and some garlic powder. This is another one of my little secret ingredients that's going to boost the umami and the sort of savory flavor of the chicken. And then a really decent pinch of salt. Now just give that a mix. Okay, now add in your chicken. So I've got chicken thighs here. I am totally a thigh drumstick kind of girl. I love how moist the chicken stays, but you can totally use chicken breast as well. I've just sort of cut them into bite-sized pieces and just mix all of those pieces through. And I know this looks like a lot of liquid. That's exactly what we want. You'll see a bit later when we come to do the crumbing part why that's important. But for the meanwhile, I want to leave this chicken to rest. Overnight would be great, but you know, if you're in a hurry, 10-20 minutes would be good too. Okay, now time to make that coating on the chicken happen. So what we want to do is pour the whole lot of this chicken plus all of that liquid into our bowl of flour. And now you want to mix everything up, and the flour is going to bind with all of that liquid and create all of the little crispy, craggly bits and pieces on the outside of the chicken. This really must be done by hand. You've kind of really got to squish the flour into that chicken. Just grab hold of a piece and really press down, get lots of that sticky, floury stuff stuck to the chicken. Okay, now this is what you're looking for. All these little bits and pieces stuck all over the chicken everywhere. They're gonna get really crispy and crunchy in the oil, just what we want. So now for the part that always brings me so much joy. I just love frying chicken. I'm going to just test my oil first of all with a chopstick or a wooden spoon, and this is how I tell if the oil is hot. I can see lots of little bubbles. I don't want them too ferocious though, because these are quite thick, these pieces of chicken, so they're gonna need to be in there for like 6-7 minutes, and I don't want them to get too brown on the outside before they're cooked through. So a medium kind of bubble, and then in our chicken goes. And of course, as with any deep frying, don't overcrowd the pan. Overcrowding will drop the temperature of the oil too much, and that's when you get things all oily and soggy. Not what we want. And my other big tip for deep frying at home, particularly when you're doing large pieces of things, is to keep them moving and keep them flipping over. So it's not like in a restaurant where you have a really big vat of oil and you've got like a basket keeping it off the bottom of the pan. So you have to keep it moving so that it cooks evenly without getting too many brown spots. Now look at this gorgeous color. Fried chicken doesn't get any better than this. Now take these out and drain them on some paper towel. While that chicken's still hot, sprinkle over some salt. Always be seasoning when you get things straight out of the oil while they're hot, because the salt will stick. So we've got our crispy crunchy chicken. Now we want a really light, fluffy vessel to put it in, and I can think of nothing better than a beautiful bao bun. So these are my homemade bao buns, and if you want the recipe, a foolproof recipe on how to make these, check out my YouTube channel. You can also buy these in the frozen section of a lot of Asian grocery stores if you'd like to do that. So these guys need to go onto steam. I'm going to put them onto a wok full of boiling water and just wait for those to heat up. So while we're doing that, we'll get the rest of our bits and pieces ready to assemble. Any kind of fried chicken sandwich to me needs a really good sort of drizzly sauce to go with it. So I'm going to start with a little bit of mayonnaise, and I'm going to add some extra chili because that's just me, but this is some extra coconut sriracha. Just mix that through. So good, spicy, tangy, yum. And now for the chicken. So because of the size of my bao buns, I'm going to slice the chicken in half. Also just because I love to hear that crispy crunch. Look at that, perfection. So now we're ready for the assembling part, and I've got my sauce, my chicken. I've also got some pickled red onion here, and I just simply mixed the onion slices with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of plain white vinegar. Just let it sit around for a few minutes, and then just some spring onion as well. So let's open up and get some of our buns out. Now you want to open up your bun, drizzle on the base some of that spicy mayo and a couple of pieces of chicken. And then, because you can never have too much spicy sauce in my opinion, I'm going to put some more sauce on top, and then a little bit of that pickled onion, and finally some spring onion. Now that, my friends, is one epic sandwich, which I am going to have to try out, just so you know. You guys have to eat this. Crunchy chicken, spicy mayo, and then pickled onion. Perfect, just perfect. Really is very good. We should film this again so I can eat more. If you've got any comments or questions, pop them below. And if you enjoyed the video, why not hit that subscribe button plus the little bell one, and that way you'll get notified every time I release a new video. Thanks guys.